Hello, it's Alex and welcome to Hey Little Drifter. Today I'm going to be talking about some horror films rather than books. I thought it would be fun to start a series here where I talk about horror films, and what better place to start than with my top 10 favourites. Now, I'm definitely not claiming to be an expert, but I am a huge fan and I have seen several hundred horror films over the years, so I feel like I'm pulling from a decent number of films here. Before I get into it, just to clarify, these are my favourites, not necessarily the best films, although I do think some of them would fit on both lists. But yeah, these are just the films that have had some kind of impact on me. They're ones that I have rewatched and will probably never get tired of. Nostalgia probably plays a big part in my love for them, but for whatever reason, I absolutely love these films. Coming up with the top 10 was quite difficult. I did have to get quite brutal, and there were plenty of films that could have been in the top 10, but they didn't quite make it. So yeah, top 10s can definitely change over time, but as of right now, this is it. And I'm not even going to try and rank these, they are all absolutely up there. So instead I'm just going to go through in chronological order. First up, from 1973, is The Wicker Man, directed by Robin Hardy. It's about a detective who travels to a remote island in order to investigate the disappearance of a girl. His investigation seems to be going nowhere, and we don't know whether the people of Summer Isle are messing with him or if there really is something sinister going on here. This is such a classic. I love the story of this and how everything plays out, and yeah, it has probably one of the best and most iconic climaxes of a horror film. Next up, from 1977, is Suspiria, directed by Dario Argento. This is about an American dancer who moves to Germany in order to attend a dance academy, and strange things start to happen and she has to figure out what's going on before it's too late. This is a beautiful film, filmed in Technicolor, and it just looks amazing. The story is super atmospheric and creepy, and it has a fantastic score by Goblin. Next, from 1978, is Halloween, directed by John Carpenter. This is about Michael Myers, who, when he was a young boy, killed his sister, and for the past 15 years he has been in a mental hospital, but he breaks out and begins a series of murders. No matter how many times I've seen it and I know exactly what's coming, it's still super tense and scary, and yeah, it gets me every time. Next, from 1982, is Poltergeist, directed by Tobe Hooper. This is about a family who move into this new home. They start to experience some weird things going on in the house, and their youngest daughter gets taken away by some supernatural force. Again, such a brilliantly done film. This one scared me as a kid and still scares me today. Next up, from 1983, is Videodrome, directed by David Cronenberg. This is about the owner of a cable TV station who stumbles upon a disturbing broadcast full of sex and violence. This is such a unique film. I'm a big fan of David Cronenberg, and this is my all-time favourite of his. It is a body horror classic. It is weird and wonderful, and I love it to death. Next up, from 1984, is A Nightmare on Elm Street, directed by Wes Craven. This is about a group of teenagers whose dreams are haunted by Freddy Krueger, and they start getting killed off, and the main character Nancy has to figure out what's going on and how to defeat him before they all die. Another slasher classic, but this one brings its own uniqueness to that subgenre. I love how it blends the supernatural with the slasher, and yeah, it's just absolutely iconic. From 1987 is Hellraiser, directed by Clive Barker. This is about a man who is obsessed with finding his next sexual high, and he stumbles upon this puzzle box which unleashes the sadomasochistic Cenobites. I love this one for its uniqueness within the genre. It is dark and kind of gritty, it has some amazing effects, and again the atmosphere and creep factor are excellent. Also from 1987 is The Monster Squad, directed by Fred Dekker. This is about a group of kids who are obsessed with monsters, and one day monsters actually turn up in their little town, and of course no one believes them because no one believes in monsters, so they're the ones that have to save the town. This one is an absolute ton of fun. It's so well written and is just, yeah, an absolute joy to watch. The monsters in here are perfectly done, the kids are all brilliant, and yeah, has some fantastic one-liners. Next up from 1992 is Candyman, directed by Bernard Rose. This is about an urban legend of the Candyman. If you look in the mirror and say his name 5 times, he will appear behind you. And we follow a character called Helen, who is researching urban legends for her thesis. This is based on a short story by Clive Barker, and it has some of the similar kind of darkness and grittiness, I think, to Hellraiser, but definitely remains its own unique thing. The score by Philip Glass is absolutely amazing and really adds to the atmosphere of the story. It's one that has a big emotional element for me as well, and I really love it when horror combines scares with emotion. And last but not least, from 1996 is The Craft, directed by Andrew Fleming. This is about a teenage girl who moves town and starts at a new school, and she meets these 3 girls who are into witchcraft, and the 4 of them combine their powers to try and grant their biggest wishes. This one came out at the perfect time for me to really have an impact on me. I was a teenager and yeah, trying to find myself and figure out life and high school and all of that scary stuff. I love the friendship aspect of this, and I just think the whole story is great, and I think the 4 main actresses are awesome. They all play the roles so well, and of course it has a great 90s soundtrack. So those were my top 10 favourite horror films. Let me know if any of these are also on your lists. I would love to hear your top 10 if you have one. I know it's pretty difficult. Yeah, these are ones that I could watch over and over again and not only not get tired of them, but also notice new things every time I watch them, and I think that's a testament to a great film, that it can hold up to rewatches and not only still be enjoyable in whatever way, but also give you something new each time. These films definitely had a big impact on me and enforced my love of the horror genre. I'm hoping to make this horror film series a monthly thing, so I've already been spending a bit of time on coming up with themes for different videos, like my top 10 scariest, most disturbing, probably doing like my favourite of each decade, maybe underrated films and overrated ones. So yeah, I already have quite a few ideas, but if there's anything in particular you would like to see sooner rather than later, then please do let me know. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I will see you again in my next video. Bye!